Today I went to West Memphis, Arkansas to look at this 380 SL. When I got out here, I checked the battery voltage and the battery was reading 10.7 volts. I immediately reached in here and I took the power lead from the Hirschman power antenna that was original to the car, and I unplugged it because when I last observed this car last Saturday, the power antenna had suddenly died. And so what happens is, when that situation occurs every once in a while, this thing is 40 years old, the antenna continues to draw power because it thinks it's not all the way down. You'll notice that the button is up, and if this were actually completely closed, this button would have descended below this nut. So the Hall effect switch that's inside this antenna kept drawing amperage because it thought that it had not completed its job. So I just unplugged it for the time being. There are plenty of these antennas available on eBay. They're very inexpensive, like $50 or so. We'll buy one, and it's secured in by literally one screw here and this nut, and that's it. So it's a pretty easy switch. The car has been idling for about 20 minutes now. You'll notice that the wheel pressure is great. It's above 3 bar. Bar is 17.5 psi, and the idle circuit is staying pretty cool as far as the coolant system is going. It's not overheating, it's idling nicely, takes throttle just fine. So what I want to see is if I'm correct. We've still got a nice 13.5 volts at this battery, so we know the alternator is great. The battery needs to be approximately 12.5 volts for the car to ordinarily operate. I've never had a parasitic draw with this car, and I've parked this car for months at a time. But, you know, the battery could be a culprit. We're going to find out. So I've now cut it off. And I'm seeing 12.7 volts at the battery. It's going to count back a little bit. But if this battery were, in fact, bad, we would still be seeing roughly 10.7, 10.9 volts or so. This should plane out at about 12.48. So what I'm going to do now is, without boosting the car off, I'm going to start it. And there we go. Nice healthy start. $13.47. We should see this count back up to about 13.52 if the regulator is working properly. So your culprit simply was this power antenna module drawing amperage while the car was off, which the reason it did that because it thought it wasn't all the way down. So now that it's unplugged, the antenna itself will still provide FM, AM reception to the radio. It just will not operate power. It won't power operate until it's replaced. So that was your culprit. You should not observe any parasitic draw with the car in the future because I've eliminated the culprit. Hope this video helps.